guys, Shadow King here, and today I'll be bringing you part 2 of What If Issei was the wielder of the true Excalibur. Now, before I begin, I want to clarify something. Issei will not be only be using Excalibur, but he can also use Excalibur Morgan. Here's the reason why. So don't at me saying, "Oh, you just need the Holy Grail mod to corrupt Saber to turn her into Saber Alter, and that's why Saber Alter has Excalibur Morgan." No, the reason here is kind of simple and kind of like my own theory in a way. So the reason why Issei can use Excalibur Morgan or turn Excalibur into Excalibur Morgan is because Excalibur was stated to be tied to the will of humanity, like all the goodwill, like the hope, dreams, love, and compassion of humanity. So by taking that in mind, I can interpret that Excalibur can also be turned into Excalibur Morgan if Excalibur, how do I say this, could tap into the bad side of humanity, like the corrupted will of humanity, like greed, laziness, corruption, any of that. I can say that I can say that Issei can and will be able to use the corrupted will of humanity to turn Excalibur into Excalibur Morgan. Like that's why Excalibur Morgan existed in the first place, because um, Saber was exposed to all the bad side of humanity and seeing how, like, no matter what she changes, like people are still gonna hate her. Like she still gave in and became Saber Alter, and Excalibur Morgan was turned because of Saber Alter's corrupted will and being and kind of using the bad side of humanity. So that's the reason why Issei will be able to use Excalibur Morgan. Now, back to the what if. So when Issei and Reina sort of get home, Issei's parents are sort of like happy, like say like, "Oh, so this is Issei's girlfriend. Um, wow, she's so pretty." As Issei's fathers are like, "Huh, I think we actually pull it off," or says the whole like the first member of his harem before his wife grabs a spoon and whacks him across the head. As Issei's like, "Dad, I'm not like that. I will not have a harem." As Issei's father's I just looks down, as Issei says, "Without Reynar's consent, if she will agree to a harem." As Issei's father perks up, saying, "Yes." As Mrs. Kyoto says, "Damn it!" Or like, "God damn it, both of you." And she just kind of grabs her spoon again and just hits Issei over the head, but Issei just laughs it off. So after that situation is like resolved, then they sort of have dinner with Reina, sort of thinking Issei's parents. Um, Issei and Reina would just sort of go to his room. No naughty business yet. As they sort of like sit down on the bed. And I said sit down, not lay down. As Issei and Reina sort of like talk. As Issei sort of asks like why was she sent to kill him, as Raynar says at first she was assigned to watch over him, but then after last week her orders suddenly changed to kill him, as and without any warning or like reply back, she sort of just went, "Oh well, back to the plan," or like orders are orders. As he sort of face palms and says, "Don't you think that was a little suspicious or weird that you couldn't contact your superiors about why the sudden change of heart and deciding to kill me?" As Raiders are like, I mean, I thought it was a test. As he said, face palms again. Say, oh god damn it. So, so Rainer would then ask, so how is it that you're able to use the sacred gear at this level? You're human. You're supposed to be human, right? I mean, no offense, but usually it would take you like over a year to actually access the balance breaker. As he says, like, yeah, funny story. As Reynard is like, what is it? Kind of like intrigued a bit. As he says, like, well, you see, the reason why and the Red Dragon Emperor is able to use the Red Dragon Emperor and the Synchro Booster is because I'm sort of like, I technically have Drake's dragon blood that was passed on to me from generation of generations from my father's side. As Reynard just kind of blinks a face, kind of saying, what? As Drake is all like, allow me to explain this. The reason why Issei Hiro has my dragon blood is because he's a long, a lost descendant of the Pendragon family. As Jane is all like, say, what now? As Jake is all like, yes, a long time ago, during the reign of King Arthur, I gave King Arthur, or I believe it was something like King Arthur received the dragon blood from Merlin or from Drake. I forget which one. But either way, like, Artoria drank the dragon blood, I believe. It was something like that. As Drake says that, is he's all like, then King Artoria received part of my power. It's the reason why she was so strong. As in Reiner and Issei is all like, wait, she? As Drake is all like, oh, right, you should probably know, or don't know, or I should probably tell you this, but King Arthur was actually a girl. I'm going by the Fate Stay Night, but no Holy Grail War, okay? As Issei and Reiner are so like very surprised, saying, so King Arthur was a girl this entire time? As Drake is all like, yes. But why was she depicted as a male? As Issei is all like, as Drake is all like, male superiority. As both Issei and Reina are like, oh yeah, that's true. As Drake says that anyways, during the whole holy war, during the whole um during the whole war between fallen angels and devils, along with God, um, the descendant of the Pendragon family, or what was supposed to be the last descendant of the Pendragon family, died against the fight against Satan himself, as his sword was supposedly shattered, quotation marks. As Rainers are like, wait, shattered? As he said when they snap his fingers, creating a barrier, as he's all like, it's better if I show you. As an Avalon, along with Excalibur, manifests behind him, as he pulls it out, saying, those so-called Excalibur that the church has, those are not real. This is Excalibur. As Reynard just kind of like has her mouth agape, and she then passes out with foam coming out of her mouth. As he says, like, whoops. As Dragons are like, oops, my butt, we weren't supposed to tell her yet. As he says, like, well, you said the sword supposedly shattered. As Dragons are like, god damn it, I cornered myself into that corner. As he says, like, yes, and the floor is made out of floor. As Dragons are like, I fucking hate you. So after about 5 to 10 minutes, Raynor finally wakes up, saying, "So you have the real Excalibur?" As he's like, "Yes." "But how? I thought it shattered." As Drake is like, "Well, here's the thing. Excalibur is actually the manifestation of humanity's will. On the off chance that it did shatter, which is technically impossible, well, almost, but there's like the very slimmest chance for Excalibur to actually break was for humanity's will to completely disappear, as in turn, completely be wiped out. Or the humans don't have hope anymore. On the off chance that happens, Excalibur will break and all of humanity will be destroyed. Basically, it will turn into a barren wasteland. Pretty much the same, but only on fire. as as Rena saw, like, so that's the reason why Excalibur didn't shatter all these years ago. As Drake is like, yes. As Reynards are like, well, that just is a huge bombshell to be dropped. And Jake is like, yes. As then as then Drake would then continue saying, but anyways, after sort of looking throughout history or kind of looking through Issei's ancestor list, I made him go on. I made him look it up. It appears that Issei's family had like an orphan, like was a descendant of a orphan that was abandoned in England, which then kind of, you know, grew up and kind of have his own children, which in turn became the Hyodo family, which you see now. My guess, or what I can guess, is that orphan was actually that Pendragon brat's son. Not Mordred, but, you know, after Mordred, during the whole Holy War. So pretty much Issei is is considered a lost descendant. As Reina is all like, wow, that is just a lot to take in. As Issei's all like, huh, yeah. I mean, still pretty cool though. I mean, I have both Excalibur and Avalon. As Reina says, you have Avalon? The distant Utopia Avalon? The one that said to be rival Helen in beauty in comparison? As she kind of shakes Issei. As Issei's like, Rain, are you sort of shaking me? Can you please stop? As Rain sort of stops, saying, "Oh, sorry, but that was still that is just a bombshell to be that I didn't expect. I mean, Avalon was supposedly stolen by Mor- Morgan, Morgan, um, King Arthur's sister. Wait, she is a girl, right?" As Jake is like, "Yes." As then Drake is all like, "Well, I'm just gonna." As in Rena was all like, "Wait a minute. How did you receive Avalon?" As he says, like, "Well, the last thing I remember was a old man with white long hair and some bluish pinkish." I mean, that's how I kind of remember Merlin. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. As Jake is all like, "Oh, god damn it." As Ethan's all like, "What?" As Jake is all like, "The person you met was the second biggest troll of all time, Merlin." As both Issei and Reina are like, "Wait, Merlin? the great wizard Merlin? As Jake is like, by a great wizard, you mean the greatest dick wizard of all time? Then yes. As he says, like, dick wizard. As Jake is all like, let's just say that Artoria was actually the very first Fuda. As Issei and Rina just kind of take that in. As Issei's all like, you're joking. As Jake is all like, kid, as much as I want to be joking, this isn't a joke. As Issei is all like, okay, so King Arthur is actually King Artoria, who pretended to be a male but sort of became a Fuda because of Merlin. As Jake is all like, yes. As in, Rainer's all like, wait, I have a question. As Jake is all like, shoot. As Rainer says, I thought Excalibur was made by God, like a holy sword. So why didn't he give off like the whole holy-ish aura and gave off more of a dragonish aura? As Jake is all like, uh, the church, the church is filled with idiots. Let's just say that. Actually, no offense to real life churches and actual Christians. I do apologize, but the way this high school DxD world was set, um, like the people of the church were a bunch of fuck ups. So, again, no offense to anyone of the church. Just this is for the DxD universe. Once again, no offense. As Jake is all like, listen, the church doesn't own Excalibur or shouldn't own Excalibur because it was never made by God. It was made by Alia, the protector of humanity, the fairies, the Lady of the Lake, and I think I helped provide the flames. I don't know actually. I honestly don't know that part. If Drake actually helped, but in this case, I'm gonna say Drake did actually help. And my own fire. That's why the Pendragon family is actually called the Pendragon family because I sort of like provided them with my blood and the blade, or help provide the blade. And he says, "I'm like, okay, that's so cool." As Jake is like, I know, right? As Jake would then say, anyways, so the church actually, the church in heaven, technically don't have any authority over, um, over Excalibur because they don't own it. Even if me or the Pendragon family gave it to them, it's still ours. So yeah, Excalibur is not technically not a holy blade. The only reason it glows is because it's the will of humanity shining through. It's actually one of the reasons why it's kind of been accidentally depicted as a holy sword. As Raynars are like, oh, wow. I mean, yeesh, I know the church was a bunch of fuck ups, but I didn't know they were this bad. As Jake is all like, yes, I know. What a bunch of fucking idiots. As he says, like, well, okay then. Um, anything else that I should know? As Drake is all like, no, not that I know of. So, anyways, Issei would say, so can you go back to, so do you have any word to say, Raynar? Or should I prepare a futon? As Raynar is all like, a futon would be nice. As Issei's like, okay. As he just kind of pulls out a futon, out of the closet as he kind of lays down, saying, "You can take the bed if you want." As Rena's like, "No, no, no, you'll take the bed. I'll go on the futon." I know it sounds weird, guys. As Issei's like, "No, no, I insist." As they kind of get into a little bit of an argument, as Jake is all like, "Oh my God, would you two lovers just kind of go into bed already?" It's kind of weird and awkward to hear you argue if you're not gonna have sex. As both Issei and Reina just kind of turn red, saying, "Sex? What do you mean by that?" As Jake is like giving, kind of, acting like he's giving the whole look to Issei. He says, "You know what I mean." As Issei's like, "No, I don't. No. I mean, I was told about the birds and the bees, but I've never actually done it with a woman, idiot. I'm not that much of a beast to actually go after a girl because she has a nice body. That's actually a compliment, Raynar." As Raynor's like, thanks. So after a little bit more of arguing, Raynar would finally decide to take the bed as Issei just kind of sleeps in a futon. So, anyways, next day, Issei's kind of walking to school with Raynar sort of staying at home because she doesn't want to be spotted by the devils until after Issei sort of explains everything. So Issei would just kind of walk into school, do everything as he normally does, not really with anything, um, with any care in the world, with Rias and Akano already expecting him to be alive because he kind of killed Donasik. So, sorry about that, guys. My family's outside, and my brother's the one who's currently kicking the ball. So, anyways, after the school ends, or was it lunchtime? I forgot. Um, Issei would be called by Kiba Yudo. As the girls are like, "Oh, it's you, Kiba, oh, please marry me," and all that. As Issei's like, kind of gets up saying, "So, let me guess, you're here for me?" As Kiba's like, "Yeah, I'm here for you. How did you?" As Issei's like, "Magic." "No, no, 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 I got it. Muffin button." So Issei would say muffin button, as he was like, "What?" As Issei's like, "Muffin button." As he was like, "I'm not even gonna question it. You did question it, and I said muffin button." As Kiva's like, um, "No, I mean, I'm not gonna question it further. I mean, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I'm just saying you already did question it." Issei, "I'm just saying, do you just want to go and meet the president?" "All right, fine, let's go." As they just kind of walk off, with Kiva just kind of being like, "Is this really the guy who defeated that fallen angel?" So after they just kind of walk into um, the old school building, and Issei just kind of says, "Dark and gloomy, how welcoming." As Kiva's like, "I know, right?" As Issei's like, "Oh, you're playing with me now, aren't you?" As Kiva's like, "Yes, yes, I am." So once they make it into the old school building, uh, Kiba would introduce Akano and Konako, with Akano just kind of sort of trying to like lunge herself at Issei to just hug him, to just tease him, but Issei just sort of sidesteps and does a spin as Akano just kind of goes flying by. As Akano would then just kind of get up saying, "Why would you dodge my my show of affection?" As he says, "I like affection, so that's what it was." As Akano's like, "What else would it be?" As he says, like, "You attacking me." As Akano's like, "How dense, but cute." As then Kiba would then introduce Konako as she's eating sweets. As Issa's like, hey, hey. As Konako just goes back to eating sweets. As then Issei hears the shower running as he's like, wait a minute, there's a shower here? As Akano says, oh yes, the president is currently taking a bath. As Issei then hears the door like open as he immediately turns around. As out of it steps Rias as Rias says, oh, sorry, I didn't know he was already here. I thought he'd kind of give you a little bit of trouble. It was going to take longer. As he says, like, cut the bullshit. We both know why we're here. Or why I'm here. As the tone suddenly shifts. As Rias is like, I assure you, Issei, that I have no idea what you're talking about. As Issei would then sigh, saying, the only reason you were taking a shower was in hopes to distract me with your body. Isn't that right? As Rias is like, again, like, assure you, Issei, isn't that right? As Rias would then sigh, saying, yes. But how did you... It's the same reason why the little kitty over there was hiding in the bushes. You really think I couldn't smell you from inside the bushes? As Konako suddenly tenses up with being called a kitty. As Rias would say, wait, smell her? As he says, like, she smells of bloodshedding carnages and a small hint of cat food. I'm pretty sure I can call her Kitty. As Kanako doesn't know whether to be relieved or offended. So 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 then Rias is all like, so how much do you know about the supernatural world? And he says like, only about fallen angels, devils, and angels, and the Holy War. Um, After that, not much. As in Rias is like, well, this sort of narrows the explanation down, and sort of disappointing. Hold on, give me a minute. And she then changes into clothing as she kind of sits down in her chair as Issa would just remain standing. As Rias is like, take a seat, as Issa responds with no. As then Rias is like, fine. So she kind of explains the whole peerage system and how she can reincarnate anyone into her own peerage. As then she kind of asks Issa if she wants to be in her peerage, as Issa will reply with no. As Rias would say, but no. If no. Why? No. As Rias is like, can I at least talk? No. So Rias is like, says, wait a minute, what happened with the other fallen angel? Now that I think about it. As he says, like, oh right, Kitty over here told you about it. My name is Konako, and I decided to call you Kitty. And nothing can change my mind. As Konako would just kind of stand up, as kind of faces Issei, as he says, like, oh. As she kind of like punches Issei, saying, don't call me Kitty, and then she's like, yow, that hurts. And she kind of like steps back, like shaking her hand, saying, ow, 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 ow. That hurts. That's like punching a metallic titanium wall that's 6 feet thick. And I can punch through that. Sure, it takes me a while, but ow! As Issei's like, don't worry about my skin, I'm always hard. Wait, no. As Akano is all like, now's my chance. As she kind of goes like, foo. Always hard, huh? As Issei just kind of grabs a baseball bat and just kind of lightly bonks her on her head, saying, "No, go to horny jail." So, so after that, Rias is like, "Is there any way you can change your mind?" And he's like, "No." And Rias is like, "Well, hmm, I have a proposition. If you can beat Kiba, then um, then we get to leave. Then you don't get to be part of my peerage. But if Kiba manages to beat you, you'll have to join my peerage." And she's like, "This is the only chance I will ever get to recruit him into my peerage because I need to get away from him." Um, in this case, Rias is kind of like how it was depicted in canon that she didn't set up Issei for his own death. She was actually genuine. Didn't want to start out like a whole war again. Not the whole like fan fictions where like Rias set Issei up and then Issei becomes overpowered as shit. No, Rias is actually kind of desperate here and actually needs the whole thing with Riser. So this proposition that he gave Issei was sort of proof of that. So Issei's all like, fine. As once they go outside, um, Kiba prepares two candlesticks and and throws it to Issei. As he's all like, kind of does a few swings. As Kiba notices that it's sort of like those are swings of a master, not of a novice or an amateur. As Kiba's all like, well then, let's see how well you can last against me. And sort of keep as after Rias sort of gives the go ahead. It's all like, ready or not, here I. Why is the ground above me? As Kiba is knocked off his feet and kind of slammed into the ground within two moves. As Issei sort of like swept at his feet and then slamming into the ground using the sword as the wooden sword just broke in half after Issei put too much force into it, saying, "Right, I need to control my damage output." Is Rias is like Kiba, kind of like rushing over to where Kiba is. He's all like, she's all like, Kiba, are you okay? Speak to me. More cookies with my tea, Akano. As he sort of like passes out again. As Akano's all like, right. And she kind of goes out to get more tea and cookies. As Rias is all like, Akano, this is serious. This is serious. As Akano's all like, I am being serious. As Rias would then just look at Issei saying, can you at least hold back? As Issei says, I was holding back. As Rias is like, huh? As Issei's like, I was holding back. If not, that crater would have been a hell of a lot bigger. But since I know you're desperate for something, I'll give you an ultimatum. I will not join your peerage. Well, not exactly, but is there a way for me to be like a free piece without actually changing into a double? As Rias is like, well, Juku was working on something like that. I'm pretty sure he's almost done with it, but as he says, like, perfect. If you can get me 8 mutation pieces, then 8 free mutation pieces, I'll join your peerage as a free piece because I want to do my own thing. I don't really like taking orders from anybody, not even my mom. As Rias is like, just help me out with like one favor, all right? And he says like, all right, fine, I'll do that. And he sort of like leaves as Rias will call out saying, I will send somebody for you to pick to they get you from your class. Once the free pieces are 8 free mutation pieces arrive. But wait, mutation pieces? Do you really need that much? Do you really need all 8 mutation pieces? Or to be mutation pieces? And he says like, yeah, this is my aura. And as he kind of sort of lets out his overwhelming heavy aura, as then Rias just has the instinct to just like kneel before him, as she almost does, before Issei like releases his aura and like suppresses it again. As he says like, you see why now? As Rias says yes. So Issei would just kind of like head off home to just sort of tell Reynard the good news, although he did forget to tell Rias about Reynard. So when he gets home, Reynard sort of asks about that, as Issei's like, "Dope." So, anyways, guys, this is where we're going to be leaving off. Shadow King out. See you guys in the next part.